Thomas here, a world champion, of course, will be competing for the United States. Bart Conner, his teammate, both of them world champions. We'll be reporting on the American Cup today on ABC's Wide World of Sport. That's what they think of Kirk Thomas in the Garden.
Indeed it was. Thank you, Howard, and we'd like to apologize from here in New York. We'll be...
One of the guys who has won is you, and I'd like to congratulate you and all your... Gordon, the subject is gymnastics, and it's the American Cup, which in most people's minds in the sport is considered the third most important gymnastics meet in the world, behind the World Championships and the Olympics. Not all the best people in the world are here, but many of them are. An important competition. We're going to go to the men's high bar first of all. And if you want to see how difficult this sport can be, he's a member of their World Championship team, 25 years old, in his first American Cup. Gordon?
And he's going to cut for a triple flyaway, which is an extraordinary move, only been done a few times in competition. We'll show you why more people haven't used it. Gets a good high release. Doesn't get a very tight tuck, though, and he's got to turn around 3 times. Needs a smaller turning radius, and there you see a triple flyaway right to the lips. Not a good move.
Triple flyaway to the face. So that was Takeshi Kume. Just how difficult the sport of gymnastics can be. For Bart Conner, however, the result was much better. Here's the young man from Oklahoma, a world champion in his own right on the parallel bars. He and Kirk Thomas have made the United States one of the major powers in world men's gymnastics, something has never been the case before.
And Jim, honestly, what a superb competition he's had. Watch how he really, there's a Delchev, a flyaway half-turn regrasp. He really is gunning for his moves. He's trying to show not just the move, but a little bit of extra emphasis on everything. He's turning into an artist in his gymnastics. Good timing, good tempo. Really a very theatrical performer now. Full in flyaway.
As you can hear, real enthusiasm there in Madison Square Garden, New York. It really turns on these youngsters, too. Kirk Thomas and Bart were both telling me that before the competition began today. Here's a look at him.
All right, this is a slow motion now again. He'll suck through now. Shoot through to a move called an inverted giant. Now he is, excuse me, Jim.
Go ahead.
He's dislocated his shoulders, hops out. Now he's getting ready for his full in flyaway. And a full in means he's doing a full twister on his first somersault. It'll be a double flyaway, a full twister on the first summy, and then just a plain back summy on the second. There it is. Really very nice.
This, by the way, was the first of 2 days of competition. Today they were competing for titles on the individual pieces of apparatus and to qualify for tomorrow's individual all-around championship. A 9.8 for Bart Conner, a fine mark on that performance. Now here, Kirk Thomas. The first matinee idol, I guess we've said that before, of gymnastics in the United States. The teenagers squeal and scream every time he appears. And here he was on the high bar, an event in which he is the current world champion.
And the most aggressive performer in gymnastics in the world now, in any event. Watch this. There's a straddle Delchev. Now he does a really nifty move. He'll pull his feet through, cast into a double German giant, and he does that so well. Almost missed his hand grip there. Just attacks the apparatus. And it permeates the audience. Jim, wouldn't you say they just get so swept up in his aggression?
Oh, really true. And we also noticed today that the fallout, you might call it, from the hockey team's triumph and the other events of the Winter Olympics was very evident today in the way the American team was received and the fact that people sang the Star-Spangled Banner. I haven't heard that in Madison Square Garden for quite a while, I'll tell you. Well, there was Kirk Thomas after the high bar, horizontal bar, sometimes called, the event in which he is the current world champion, won that championship in Fort Worth, Texas in the month of December. Okay, Gordon?
We'll take another look now. Getting cranking up with his forward to overgrip giant swings. There's the straddle Delchev. Boy, can you imagine how slight the margin for error is on that move? Now here comes the end of his routine, casting into reverse grip giants. He'll make a change on top of the bar. Pivot into overgrip or front grip giants. Here's his German, double German. Very, very well executed. And Jim, he is just dominating this competition so well.
No question of that. Kirk Thomas at the end of the day was in first place all around, followed by Bart Conner and Zoltán Magyar of Hungary. Here was his mark in this event, a well-received 9.9 out of a possible 10. This then was the American Cup at Madison Square Garden today. We'll be right back. Well, now let's have a look at the women's overall leader at the end of the first day of competition, Amelia Eberli of Romania. World champion in her own right, one of the great gymnasts of the world today. This was the uneven parallel bars. We'll be seeing these athletes, the ones who qualified for the final, on ABC's Wide World of Sports tomorrow. Tomorrow, the final day of competition, when the overall champion, man and woman, will be determined. Gordon?
And Tim, she works very much with the kind of precision that Nadia Comaneci works with. The whole Romanian team is just almost programmed to work so solidly. Rarely ever make a mistake. Eberli is very, very lean. Her weight-to-strength ratio is extraordinary.
Amelia Eberli, well received at Madison Square Garden in New York by a crowd announced as 13,000. Frankly, it didn't look quite that big, but that's what they announced it as. And tomorrow, it might very well be filled. This is an event that has been growing in interest every year.
Well, there's Eberli doing her Stalder shoot up to a handstand, free hip circle to another handstand, and she's hitting them right on the money. Straddle over the top of the bar, and you're going to see coming up a little release move where she turns loose with one hand at a time. Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Little Christ care.
All this action that took place just this afternoon, an hour or two ago at Madison Square Garden in New York, it will continue tomorrow on Wide World of Sports. This is Jim McKay with Gordon Maddox. Ernie Shaver's eye surgery performed by Dr. Robert McAmer and filmed by Fernando Gonzalez. Arrangements made through. A promotional fee paid by United to Hawaii than any other airline. See you tomorrow. Always a dramatic one. The standings there, as you see at the moment, Marsha Frederick, the United States, tied for the lead with Dumitrita Turner of Romania, and the other American, 13-year-old Tracee Talavera, tied for third with the other Romanian, Amelia Eberli, a world champion. The American women doing much better than expected in the American Cup. Here's Marsha Frederick to start off the balance beam.
I have nice things to say about Marsha here. I think that the balance beam was a real liability for her in the past, partly because she's had a severely injured ankle that has just bugged her for about a year and a half. She has worked hard on the beam. She's had a nice, I guess, full recovery of her ankle, but mostly her technique has improved to the point where now when you watch the balance beam with Marsha on it, you don't worry about where or when she's going to fall off. She looks much more comfortable. Very nice position on those two back handsprings. Very nice.
But as the third of the four events for the women, is this the one where she's got to hold on?
Absolutely.
Got a chance to win?
This is like men's pommel horse. This is where the lead is going to change place, probably most dramatically. And the American gals, you know, historically have not done well on the balance beam.
Except for Kathy Rigby Mason.
That's right. All right, she's through a lot of hard stuff. Good
Really
front tummy
is.
there with no problem.
She can get through this well. On the floor exercise yet to come,
It's hard to
Have a
fall
real
off the
shot.
floor.
True.
She has to be up there over 2 minutes, and that's a long time to stay on a 4-inch wide beam.
Sure is.
And literally, one of the ways they learn to stay on the beam is just by standing on it for hours in practice. There's another aerial. She's gotten through all the hard things.
You can run a whole Kentucky Derby in that time. It's true.
Well, a very safe dismount. That will hurt her. She's got to get a deduction for doing a simple back off.
However, it was a very steady routine. No major mistakes.
For sure. It's a great routine. There's this front summy. Boy, and a tough move a front summy is. Blind landing. Very, very difficult. Let's watch her dismount again now. Her dismount should be equal to the difficulty in the rest of her routine. This is not. She does all those great aerials and then a straight layout back somersault off.
Here it comes. 9.55. Mark for Marsha Frederick. Of course, the crowd doesn't like it, but crowds are never, in fairness, as aware of the judges of the difficulty of the content.
No, that's true.
On the beam, Tracee Talavera of the United States. Last year, she surprised everybody here. And this year, she's doing it again in a tie for third, but in a tie with Amelia Eberli of Romania, one of the finest in the world of gymnastics.
I love her style. She just really goes after this. Later in her routine, we're going to see her version of the Thomas Flair on the balance beam of all things. I hope we see it. She wasn't real good hitting it in practice, but she's going to go for it, I'm told.
That'll be something new.
She's aggressive. She looks comfortable up there, doesn't she? Nice back walkover. There it goes. As the Talavera Flair, well, maybe we'll find it being called. Crowd likes it. Judges will like it. I like it.
9.65 could give her the lead for the moment. Overall.
Beautiful standing back. Very, very aggressive with a solid landing. Now she does a couple of back handsprings into a full twist and back off. Pretty good exercise, Jim.
Tracee Talavera at age 13.
All right, here goes the, I don't know what we call it, a Thomas flare, a Talavera flare. They call it a Talavera Thomas flare in the notes they gave me, but that's her version of it. Oh, that's nice.
It'd be nice to have something named after you when you're 13 years old. Here's the dismount.
Here we go now. 2 back handsprings into back with a full twist. Yeah, good exercise, Tracee.
Look at that. 9.80. She's taken over the lead from her fellow countrywoman, Marsha Frederick. Yet to come, though, Dumitrita Turner. Wouldn't that be something if this kid could win it all? But almost filled Madison Square Garden in New York for the American Cup Gymnastics competition. Continuing the women's balance beam. They have changed the mark for Vera Cherno of Czechoslovakia to a 9.6, by the way. Not too significant in the overall competition. But this young woman is Dumitrita Turner of Romania. The overall leader coming to this phase. Now, in order to maintain the lead, she needs a 9.8 to tie for the lead with Tracee Talavera of the United States, 9.75.
Jim, those are hard numbers you're putting up there, on the balance beam particularly. It's just so easy to find ways to lose tenths. Anytime your body moves in order to catch your balance, you will tend to lose valuable points. That was an excellent front somersault. The Romanian girls are probably now, as a team, the strongest in the world on the balance beam. Stronger than the Soviets in this event. Part of the reason they spend so much time on it, they practically live on this balance beam. Great
Turner here and Eberly may well both have moved past their teammate Nadia Kalinic, who is not here.
Very possible, yes. Very possible. I don't think that they're innately as talented as Kalinic ever was. But other things change in your life, and that's one of the changes, passing her by. Possibly. Watch how her knees barely bend to the back summing. The deeper your knees bend, the more your possibility for mistake. Well, she hasn't had a bobble to my knowledge yet. Very nice sides aerial, it's called, sort of an aerial cartwheel. The thing that they lack is the balletic type movement that I yearn for so much. Used to be required that they look like ballerinas. Now they have to look like athletes, and it's kind of too bad. Double twister off. Fine exercise.
Okay, Dumitrita Turner going for that 9.8 she leads.
Here comes the back summing. She's barely going to bend her knees to get into it. The less the knee bend, the better the possibility for landing it. Boy, she zonks it right in. She lands on a 4-inch beam just like it's a sidewalk.
Just as important, 4 feet off the floor.
Now here comes her dismount. Double full twister. You're going to see first of all a round off. Punch on the beam. Double full twister. Can you imagine what it's like the first few times to try to hit the beam with your feet to get that punch off?
Here comes the mark. 9.70. She didn't do it. Tracee Talavera remains in first place. But there's one more to come on the balance beam. She is Ilya Eberly, tied for third at the end of 2 events of this 4-event competition. Right now, trying to stay in the competition or conceivably to take the lead. She needs a 9.85 to take over first place, a 9.8 to tie for the lead.
Fine standing back there, Jim. Like Turner, if she makes a major mistake on the beam, that would be headlines because they're just not known to make mistakes. Very, very rock-solid performers.
More and more, it looks like 9.85 for Talavera was a very high mark in the minds of these judges. There you go. I'm wondering if that new version of the Thomas flare she did really impressed them.
She dazzled them a little bit with it, don't you? Now, again, I miss the kind of balletic movement that I think ought to be expressed here. I'd like to see them work balance beam almost as if they were working to some kind of an orchestra in their mind. And yet here we see them doing series of tricks instead of one total grand performance. But boy, they're doing a series of tricks, I'll say that.
She needs the 9.85 to take over the lead from Tracee. Tracee having had a 9.8 here, so a 9.8 would tie her for the lead because they were tie coming in.
Well, unless she makes a big mistake, you can almost figure that she's going to get that, Jim. We'll see it here. Well, no, maybe not. That simple dismount. That has severely hurt the other competitors.
So many of them seem to be going for that simple dismount today. I don't know why.
They may be in a transition, you know, after the World Championships.
9.7.
All right.
There you go.
Yes, here we go. All right, back handstring to 1 foot. Standing back summing. Solid, solid.
Here it comes. 9-7. Nope, it's not going to do it. 9-7-0. Did not get it, Gordon. And the leader of this competition with one event to go is Tracee Talavera, age 13 of the United States. What a finish this could be. We're going to be back here for that finish in the men's and the women's competition. At the moment, it's time for more gold. Marsha Frederick of the United States is fighting for a medal as she comes to the final event, free exercise. We're back in Madison Square Garden, New York, at the American Cup Gymnastics. Men and women each have one exercise left. The male leaders are Kirk Thomas and Bart Conner of the United States. And here are the standings in the women's competition. I said that Frederick here is fourth. The leader, however, is young Tracee Talavera of the United States. Second and third, the two Romanians, Turner and Everly. But right now, the first one we'll see is Marcia Frederick. She's only a tenth of a point out of third place, only 2/10 out of the lead. Waiting for her music.
And she has improved so much in this event, too. As I mentioned earlier, her ankle has really plagued her training for at least a year and a half. That seems to be better now, and she's improved her floor exercise work and her tumbling so much. I think you'll enjoy this routine.
This is Jim McKay with Gordon Maddox, our gymnastics expert, as she begins. Same-day coverage before a virtually full house in Madison Square Garden. Tremendous crowd here, probably over 18,000.
That alone is exciting, just to have the crowd. Now watch this. Double, she lands it. Couldn't do that a year and a half ago. Now not only is her tumbling improved, but I think her style and her movement has really improved. That once was such an important characteristic. They had to be like ballerinas. Now the judges are looking aside a little bit, looking for more difficulty in the tumbling. But movement is still a very important characteristic. Marcia using her whole body, her face, her arms, her legs to express what she wants to express and to relate to the music. Now the rules require that they not only change tempo but also change the style of music. So in every exercise routine you observe, you'll see and hear differences in both performance and the music.
More and more the women's event seems to be getting like figure skating, where you want to make a whole of all the parts.
Yes, absolutely. Good observation, Jim.
Marcia Frederick.
All right, another look in slow motion at Marcia's start. Interesting without the music. It's kind of like watching old school flicks. All right, here we go now. Back walkover. Then you're going to see a nice punch double back. Now, punch double back means that she is not going to do a back handspring before it, as most people do. Perfectly all right to do it that way. Depends on what you want. All right, she can do a round off into an immediate double back. Pops it up into the air, gets it around. And I'm sure Marcia's really happy with that one.
There's the mark, 9-8.
Oh, she loved it.
He's not out of that fight for a medal, that's for sure. Tracee Talavera, the leader. Talked to her earlier. Tracee, how do you work out school? What is your normal day like during the performance of Tracee Talavera trying to win her first major international championship? She is the leader. A 9.65, at least for the moment, will keep her ahead of teammate Marsha Frederick. Yet to come, however, the young women in second and third place, the two Romanians.
She's in pretty good shape here, too, if she can just keep from making major mistakes, because she has a fine routine. Look at the lift on her double back. Boy, that's sensational. And she's got originality. She's got some very creative parts. If Tracee has one weakness, I'd say that she lacks a bit of the balletic movement, which can't come with anything but time. When you're only 13 years old, you only have so much time to invest. Into into a double full twister. Front through to a double full twister. Really nice.
First time I've ever seen a feeling of drama to the accompaniment of the music from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
If only you would know that it was that music.
She turned them on in Madison Square Garden last year. This place is swiftly becoming her magic spot.
A little later on, you'll see some very clever work in her head, when she does actually does a spin in a headstand. It's terrific. And her tumbling is too bad. She's done a double back and 2 double full twisters so far. Look out now. Here we go.
The 13-year-old queen of Madison Square Garden, Tracee Talavera. She never even saw the place till last year. May not even have heard of it. This has been a place where the great champions of many sports have turned on the crowd in a similar fashion.
Now watch her bump the floor. Boy, she gets such great lift. She's got to convert this backward motion into upward motion. And she really does that well. She'll set her feet way back and take it almost straight up. Gets great lift. About 1.5 times her own height. That's super.
And there it is. Look at this, a 9-9. A bit fun, perhaps, Georgia. That boy, age 13, Tracee Talavera. Now she reacts a little bit. It's going to be tough for anybody to catch her. Well, I'll tell you, she will be a factor if the United States gets a chance to go to the Olympics in Moscow this summer. Seems unlikely now, of course, but she will be old enough. She will be 14 before the games begin. Dumitrita Turner of Romania. In order to tie Tracee Talavera, she needs a 9.95 to go ahead of Tracee. She would need a perfect mark of 10. We have not seen a 10 in any of the competitions we've seen since Nadia Comaneci in the Olympics.
Very high double back, but with a little extra step, she's out of the 10 range. You know, rumor has it, Jim, that the Romanian State Orchestra actually recorded the music that they use in their competition.
Is that right? Sounds like kind of a small state orchestra.
It does, doesn't it?
But then it's a small country.
Another very upbeat routine. Taking a look over her shoulder to see if she's going to go out of bounds or not. Must have been the Romanian State Disco Orchestra.
Turner had a slight fall on the landing of her first move, remember, and she's needing a 10 here. 9.95 would tie her.
You know, other than a single instrument, the orchestral sound, though, boy, it just really grabs you. It's so nice.
Yeah, the crowd will like this.
Just nice timing. Sort of a comedic timing.
Yeah. Dumitrita Turner of Romania.
Now watching again in slow motion, her opening tumbling move. She's going to take a double back, up and out, as they say. Overturn it just a little bit. Coming right at you. Takes it up. Turns it around. A little bit low on the landing and has to suck it around and get that extra little step in, which probably takes her out of the championship range.
Here comes 9.6. Oh, that, I believe, drops her behind Marsha Frederick of the United States. Last chance for Romania here. Amelia Everly. All she needs to tie Tracee Talavera is a perfect mark. That's to tie, not to go ahead.
Her routine used to be very cute. The routine she used in the Olympic Games was very cute. Her routine is changing. Nice double back. It's more classical. The music is less cute. It's a much better choreographed exercise. Oh, nice tumbling, Amelia.
looking at what she needs from another direction. She needs at least 9.75 to hang on to second. If she doesn't get that, the Americans would finish first and second. A major upset.
Would that be incredible? First and second in both men and women? Boy, never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. Well, she's not going to have it without a fight, Jim. She's doing a whale of a routine.
Amelia Everly of Rumia, a world champion, performed for the first time, however, in the American Cup in New York. A look at the opening.
Takes an advanced move, gets into a posture to begin the run. Going to be a big tumbling move, double back somersault, again coming right at you. Takes it up, lays it back very well, but hits a little bit low and again has a slight overturn.
This will tell the story. Right now, 9.9. 9.9 will give her second place. 9.9. And so, however, it's the Americans finishing first and third. She did, however, come within 5/100 of a point of tying for that gold medal.
You know,
Stoyan. Be sure to be with us next weekend for ABC's Wide World of Sports satellite coverage of the World Figure Skating Championship from Dortmund, West Germany. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United.